I'm Chef Paul Hayward, and today we're making American gooey chocolate chip cookies. So we're going to go through the ingredients so you understand why we're using all the ingredients to make the cookie to get the best result and the best cookie that you can make. First ingredient we're going to start with is butter. The butter is 82% fat content. So if you go to the supermarket, you look on the back of the container, you will see all of the details. This is going to make a huge difference. The cheaper butters are full of water, and the water will take away from the flavor, also make the cookie spread. So you want to use a good butter. The butter we've cut into small pieces, and we're going to leave this at room temperature so it mixes easier. Second ingredient is caster sugar. Caster sugar is a fine white sugar. It's not powder, it's got crystals. You also have granulated sugar, which has the coarser crystals, which is more readily available. You can use either sugar, doesn't matter. Both are great for the cookies. This is going to give the cookie the structure and the crispiness that causes the caramelization on the outside of the cookie. So changing sugars around makes a big difference to your cookie. Next, we have the soft light brown sugar. The soft light brown sugar has a caramel taste. It helps the cookie stay nice and chewy and gooey. People get confused with demerara sugar and sugar in the raw, which is a very hard crystal sugar. If you use this in your cookie, you're going to end up with a crunchy cookie. So it must be soft, light brown sugar. What I've done here is I've weighed the honey into the sugar. Why? Because it just makes it easier when I'm going to pour the ingredients into the mixing bowl. So it's a little trick for you. So just make a little well, pour the honey in the middle, and then you don't have to scrape it out of the bowl. Egg. This is a fresh egg. It's a medium size. Keep your eggs at room temperature for the recipe. This is going to help all the ingredients combine nice and easily. Next, we have the flour. All-purpose flour and cake flour are very, very similar. It's going to give you a nice soft cookie. If you have bread flour, it has more gluten. It's going to give it a harder texture. So please make sure you use the right flour if you want that soft, gooey cookie. Next, we have baking soda. A lot of people get confused with baking powder. Baking soda is to make the items spread. Baking powder is to make the items rise. Salt is going to take away a little bit of the sweetness and give that savory edge to the cookie. Make sure it's fine crystals, otherwise you're going to get a big chunk of salt in part of your cookie. Last ingredient is chocolate. This one is actual dark chocolate couverture. Okay, we can use white, milk, or dark in this recipe, depending on your preference. So now we're going to start mixing the ingredients together for the cookie. Okay, first of all, we're going to take the butter, and we're going to put the soft butter into the mixing bowl. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can use a small electric hand mixer, but I wouldn't recommend doing this by hand. Second ingredient, we're going to add the white sugar, caster sugar. Then we're going to add the soft brown sugar with the honey. Then we're going to take the fresh egg, and we're going to add this to the dough. Some people like to cream the butter and the sugar first before you add the egg. Because it's a small amount of egg, it's good if we just mix the whole thing together. It works fine and saves that extra step. So now you want to put on the beater attachment. Some people call it a paddle. This one is basically has a scraper built in, so it makes it much easier. We're going to start with a very slow speed, just so all the ingredients start to combine. Once the ingredients have started to combine, we can start to increase the speed. We don't want to mix it too much. We do not want to add too much air into the cookie dough. If we add too much air into the cookie dough, the cookie will rise and then it will collapse. So we're looking at just combining the mix to keep the little amount of air in there as possible. The next step is we're going to add the dry ingredients. So we're going to take the flour, just pour that into the bowl, baking soda, and the salt. Close the machine, and then we're going to start on slow speed again. If the flour is over mixed, it will tighten and you'll develop gluten like making bread. And what will happen is you'll end up with a tough cookie. So we're just again combining the ingredients together. The chocolate, again, we're using large pieces of chocolate. We're going to chop them to make large chunks. The chocolate I'm using is called couverture. It will have cocoa butter on the ingredient list. If it's a compound chocolate, which is a fake chocolate, it will have vegetable fats. So you don't get that indulgent taste of real chocolate. But you can use either or, it doesn't matter. Again, it's personal preference. So now we're going to add the chocolate chips to the mixer. Now we're going to finish mixing, especially if the chocolate chips are not so hard. It's very important not to overmix because the chocolate chips will become part of the dough and the dough will go brown. So here we have. Please remember, for health and safety, this has got raw eggs inside. So if you want to eat it raw, I would suggest using pasteurized eggs. The cookie dough is mixed, so we can scoop it straight away. With some cookie recipes, the dough is so soft that you have to refrigerate before scooping. This one is no need. So we're going to take it's actually called a disher. It has a release mechanism built in. This one's around 6 centimeters. We're going to scoop into the dough, and then we're going to use the back of your hand wearing a glove or wash your hands. We're going to basically level off the cookie so it's flat. The reason why we do this is creating a perfect uniform size cookie, so each cookie will be exactly the same. Then we're just going to release the cookie by pressing the trigger, and the cookie will just drop out. If your cookies are different sizes, they're going to bake differently. So some will be cooked perfect, some will be burned, or some could be raw. If you don't have a scoop, the other thing you can do is weigh the dough out into the same size portions, which is 80 grams, and then roll it into a ball. So we have all the cookies scooped. So now these will go into the freezer until they're nice and hard. From there, you can bake them whenever you're ready, or you can store them in a sealed container or a Ziploc bag with the air pushed out. And you can store these for up to 3 months, so you can bake your favorite cookies any day of the week. So the cookies are now frozen. The next step is to basically preheat the oven. We have a BAKERLUX SHOP.Pro master oven. We have a special function, which is a smart preheating, only using UNOX technology. What this is the oven will preheat for first thing in the morning. It will basically preheat not just the air temperature, but the actual whole of the oven, including the metal. Normal ovens, when it's preheated, when you open the door, all the heat is lost. With the UNOX technology, it knows the actual temperature of the oven itself. So during the day, if you're basically going to use the oven for the second or third or fourth time, it will take less time to preheat, and the oven automatically knows that. Now we're going to set the oven. Very easy to use, just like your own mobile phone. So we're just going to click the set button. We click the time. We can go plus or minus. We're going to go to 12 minutes. Then we can click the temperature. Again, we go up to 180 degrees centigrade. And it's very accurate because it goes up by 1 degree. We have the humidity we don't need. And then the fan speed. We're going to go down to speed 1. Once we've done that, we hit start, and then the oven will start to do the preheating. The cookies are now frozen, so we're ready to be baking. The oven is preheating. We're going to spread the cookies out. The cookies will pretty much double in size, so we need to make sure we have space in between so they don't stick together when they're cooking. The excess ones, we're just going to put inside a Ziploc bag, and then we can keep these up to 3 months in the freezer and just bake off as you need. So I like to space my cookies out evenly, so 2, 1, 2, 1. So we're going to bake on here. We're going to actually bake off 5 cookies on this tray. Again, these cookies will double in size. So with the cookies that are inside the Ziploc bag, it's important if you want a good shelf life without frostbite, we're just going to seal the bag and then push the air out. And then these will stay. So the oven is making the sound, its preheating is over, it's ready to bake. So we're just going to open the oven, release the catch, place the cookies inside. Close the door. The oven will automatically start, for it's been pre-programmed. And now we just have to, and it will tell us when the 12 minutes is up. Okay, so the cookies are finished. The oven opens automatically. So there we have the cookies. Nice golden brown all over. They'll still be nice and soft in the middle. We're just going to let these cool down now to room temperature and ready for eating. So cookies are cooled for about 10 minutes. We're now ready to pick up. We're going to put them on the presentation plate, and then I'm sure you want to see what's inside. So here we have, look at that. Nice, chewy, very melty in the middle.